When we look at human psychology, like the level that the early Muslims reach is unparalleled. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a well-known scholar and teacher. It's called Dr. Atif. Some of you might know Dr. Atif. He's like, Cambridge Muslim College there in Cambridge. He's like, I think he's like the principal or something there. He, many years ago, I remember one of the teachers telling us this, many years ago, he'd had a conference with psychologists in the north, in northern England. He organized a conference with all of the leading psychologists. He brought them together and they had a conference on Imam al-Ghazali's contributions to Islamic psychology. Yeah. And so he presented this at one or 2 day program. All of the non-Muslims were there, they were all amazed. They said that this man has every single thing we know about psychology, he's already talked about it. And then not only that, he's given us so much more that we didn't even know. Yeah. So these Islamic psychologists mastered like the thought process, they master the way we think, they master the way we behave. Yeah. So one thing we have to understand is every single action that we do, where does it emerge from our thoughts? It also. So how does it work? So Imam al-Suyuti, another one of the great Imams, like this thing, Imam al-Suyuti, he wrote over 1,000 books in his lifetime. SubhanAllah. One man, he wrote over 1,000 books in his lifetime. Just incredible scholars from Egypt he was. So what he talks about the different stages of a thought. So he says the first thing that happens is a hajis. What's a hajis? This is when a thought comes in and leaves straight away. Yeah. So you just like you think about something and then it just goes like that. This is the first thing. The part of it really for us is just to become still enough to see. If you can even just start to identify your thoughts in today's day and age, that's an achievement. Because we're just bombarded with so much information, we're distracted all the time. We never get a chance to just think, sit back and reflect. Yeah. So the first thing is that quick thought comes and leaves. The second level now is a khatir. This is where you now start to acknowledge that the thought is there. Yeah. So the example that one of the scholars gives is like he gives an example of like, let's just say a thought comes into your mind of going to Umrah. A good thought, mashallah, positive. It comes in, I'm going to. So first it just comes and then goes. Yeah, so you just sat there, it just comes back, you don't know where it came from, and then it just goes. Then it comes, and this time you start to recognize it, that there's a thought there. Yeah, like just the fact that the thought is there. So now you know, okay, I'm thinking, oh, now you have a choice. Am I going to ignore that thought? I forget it, I can't think about Umrah, I don't have any money or whatever. Or am I going to, take that thought on and start thinking about it? So then the third thing is hadith al-nafs. This is where you now start to think about the thought. You start to talk to yourself in your mind, should I do it, etc., etc. Yeah, like Umrah would be a good idea, could maybe, etc. You start talking about it, and then finally you make a decision to act. Yeah, I'm gonna book my ticket, so I'm gonna do whatever. Yeah, this is how it works with good and bad. So like for example, an evil thought. Let's just say somebody has a thought like an inappropriate thought. Yeah, so somebody suddenly thinks about something haram, like in relation to the opposite gender, as an example. Yeah, so that thought comes in and then leaves. But then now the thought comes in, and now you're aware that I'm having this thought. Now you have a choice. Or you're going to carry on thinking about it, or you're just going to ignore it. The best thing is to ignore it. But if you don't, now you start to talk about it, you start to fantasize or whatever else it might be, and then eventually you then make a decision to act upon that, and whatever the action might be. Yeah, so it works with evil thoughts just like it works with good thoughts. The point here, why we're mentioning this, you have to stop these things at the beginning. Once you start talking about it to yourself and you start thinking and reflecting upon it, it becomes harder and harder and harder to not act upon that thought in an evil way. But if you can stop it early, mashallah.